Hello, and welcome to what is the first episode of VisionaryCast, Visionary Craft. I haven't really named this yet. I'm still on the drawing board, but I wanted to live up on my promise to the community that I was actually going to get this out this week. So, what is it? What am I doing? Why am I doing this? I am bringing podcasting to this channel. I noticed it was an available thing to do on YouTube, and it was something that I used to do a lot back when the channel was named TechMess. So if you're unfamiliar with how that went, there was a podcast, and most of it was based on horror events and just kind of like crimes and true crime and stuff like that. And while I enjoyed that, it wasn't exactly like what I wanted. It wasn't exactly what I want to do with this one. I don't want it to be heavily scripted. I don't want it to be heavily designed, so to speak. So what I want to do is just talk about things that are either important to me or in the news that revolve around art, design, 3D printing, AI, film, media, anything like that. So I want to bring this as kind of just a place to talk, just to open a community conversation about things and to really dig down on some of the topics that may be stressing people out, that people just want to chat about, or that people are passionate about and they want to like forward the concepts and forward the ideas on those topics. Which is why I thought the best episode to start with, seeing as I am an artist and seeing as I have experimented with and used it and toyed with it, AI, the rise and fall of it. Is AI dead? No. AI is not dead. I don't think it ever will be dead. I think it is a valid tool, and I think it is a good tool. But I do not like the implications of where it has gone. There was a big battle, right, over AI. There was a big battle over the fact that they were using basically massive just databases of people's work, things that have been created, images pulled off the internet, some copyrighted, some uncopyrighted. And the problem with that is you don't know. Well, you don't know. And some sites have made it apparent to where when you post art and stuff like that, you can actually set it as not allowed to be used for that, which I don't necessarily know how much that does. I know one of the sites I use, ArtStation, is pretty adamant about it. They do allow the posting of AI work, but you have to label it pretty heavily. But I was thinking about this because I saw a quote the other day, and it was a good quote from somebody who doesn't necessarily have good quotes all the time. Let me pull it up here, because to me it was important. Because it came from somebody who, like, I do enjoy watching their films, even though, like, they're just hot garbage most of the time. Let's see here. All right, so some of you may know him. Most of you probably do. Most of you probably hate him. But Michael Bay, he was speaking about AI at some sort of convention. He said it doesn't create, it just imitates. And it'll create a whole bunch of lazy people. So to all the original creators out there, have no fear. That's important. And the reason that that's important is because when AI first started coming out, specifically with like DALL-E and the art-based portions of AI, a lot of people were saddened. They were upset about the idea that you could just type in a prompt and call yourself an artist, and which I never agreed with to begin with. Like the idea of just typing in a bunch of text and saying I'm an artist, I don't. That doesn't vibe with me. That doesn't. To me, that's a cop out. Artists spend years learning and refining our work and doing the things that we do, and I think it's very important to have a differentiate, or to be able to differentiate the fact that being able to generate AI art does not, in fact, make you an artist. So for a while there was this huge like fear, and a lot of people were like, "I'm giving up art because you can just do this and get paid and blah blah blah." And I'm pretty happy that never really came to fruition. we just got done with two of the biggest strikes that we've had in a long time, both the WGA Writers Guild strike and the SAG-AFTRA strike. And both of those were geared towards the use of AI in film and how people were scared that they were going to be replaced by these designs or these scripts that could be generated. And it was a rightful fear because the studios were already looking at this. No matter what they say, they were already looking at this and seeing how they could save a dime and pump out more content, which in today's day and age, it's content, which is why I'm doing this podcast. And if you are listening to this podcast, may I ask you, please hit that subscribe button. It does help me. It helps grow the channel and it helps grow the community. And I'd love to know your comments down below because it's important to start a conversation about this stuff instead of just arguing back and forth about who's right and who's wrong. But I digress. When it comes to those strikes, I think they were so important because it really showed that people were not okay with the idea that art would be given to machines. And it's not to say that we're letting computers or we're getting rid of computers and going back to traditional art. The idea is that you would not be allowing a computer to generate something because, like, let's be honest, like it's come a long way. It's very impressive. Sometimes it still screws up on things like hands and limbs and just overall general shaping, but it's coming pretty close to photoreal as possible, I think, at this point. And it's only going to get better because there are people who are dedicated to working on this and there are people who pay for this. And, I can't say that I haven't paid for it in the past because I've used it for generating concepts and some of the things I've used on my channel just because I needed something fast that I can create later because I don't personally enjoy the idea of AI. I think it's good for generating concepts and I think I'll use this as a good use case scenario. My friend, my mod, we're working on a project for him. He is not super artistically inclined, but AI helps him get his ideas onto the page so then he can give me something and say, this is kind of what I'm looking for. And then I, as an artist, can take that, run with it, change it, do the things I'm going to do to it. It'll never look like the original concept because, like, I have my own style and I have my own way of doing things. But I think I think that's where AI is actually a really good tool. Not to say that it should replace a concept artist, ever. I think any motion picture, any video game should never even think about replacing a concept artist with AI. It's not right. It's wrong. But for people who are not artistically inclined or people who cannot afford a concept artist, because I know if I went out to get a concept artist, I can't afford them. Thankfully, with some of the things that I do, I can use somebody else's concept and credit them. And that's really cool because that allows me to build a portfolio while using art that somebody else created, but also showcasing my skill set. So that's kind of the way that I tend to look at it. But where AI comes in handy is for people who can't afford that. And, let's be honest, like if you can afford it. Have somebody do it for you. But if you can't, that's fine. AI can unlock another artist's skills, I think. But the other use case that I really appreciate is things like in Photoshop, using it for background removal, using it for object generation, things like that, that allow you to add to a project quickly, that give you the ability to kind of get to a final product faster. And that has those caveats. And I know, I think, I don't know enough about it. I know Photoshop is experimenting with it. I think Photoshop pulls from their asset library, their own cloud, whatever the hell they have, Adobe Cloud, whatever. I don't use it, so I don't know. But I have used their AI tool to remove backgrounds and to remove things from an image or to extend an image when I'm in a pinch to get a poster out or a thumbnail out. So those are the use cases I think that AI is actually pretty solid. I don't think that it's problematic in those cases. What is problematic is when people use it for a nefarious purpose to, like, skip out on paying artists when they can pay artists, or using it to elevate yourself and make yourself seem like you have more skill than other people, because that in the end in itself is just, it's so inherently wrong. And maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe I am wrong about that. I would love to know in the comments if I'm wrong about that. But I think it's really important we start having this discussion on like what makes an artist an artist. And we have decades of real life examples of what makes an artist an artist. It's only in this past year or so that AI's really become this prevalent thing that everybody can do. And it's like 3D work. I do a lot of 3D work. 4 or 5 years ago, not everybody could do it. But now you can download Blender and you can get a solid result out of Blender really quickly. And so it's crazy how fast things are changing. And I don't think there are any real answers yet to everything. But at the same time, I think there is caution that should be used, which is why we had the SAG-AFTRA strikes and the WGA strikes, because they were exercising their caution, saying, not only is our work being reduced, but you're trying to remove us and just use AI to replace us. And that's just, nobody wants that. We're already struggling with today's content now because, you have Netflix canceling everything left and right. You have Disney releasing movies that are just not great. And so I think it's really difficult. And it's difficult to see this weird turmoil that we're in as a artistic creative society. But I do agree that AI is exciting, and it has some exciting uses. It has some exciting things that it can be done or can be used for. I think it just needs to be not so much held back, but it does need to be refined and defined, as in, this is what it should be able to do. This is not what it should be able to do. It should not be able to be like, I swear to God, if I ever see an AI art piece in an art museum, that's it, game over. I'll be done. I don't think that'll ever happen. I think the art community has too much respect for that. But it is very difficult when you're scrolling through ArtStation and you see AI generated art, and to see somebody passing it off as something that they did just because they figured out how to type a few words. I mean, it's like basic programming, right? You figured out how to type in a few words and get a result. It can be discouraging. And so to people who are discouraged by AI, I want to follow the same kind of concept. Don't realize that it does create lazy artists. Lazy artists have always been a thing, and they always find ways to do things. And I've been a lazy artist from time to time. I try really hard not to be. I try to really push myself, and especially over these past couple of years, I try really hard to push myself and do new things. But over the years, I've seen what makes a good artist and what makes a lazy artist. And now, unfortunately, the concept of AI can also easily make you a lazy artist. So it's up to you to define how you use it and how you want to use it and how you want to move forward with it. Are you going to use it as a tool? Are you going to use it to try to elevate yourself to a position where everyone thinks that you're a really good artist, but really you don't know how to do anything? I think it's super, super sad. I actually get really upset when I see somebody say they're going to give up because of AI art. I spent a lot of years of my life not working on the things that I love, and thankfully I'm getting back into it, and I'm working really hard, and I'm trying new things, and I'm learning new concepts, and I'm learning new tools, and it's an exciting time for me. And so to hear that somebody sees AI and they just give up is actually really disheartening. So anyone who is listening to this, if you are listening to this, if you are a creative individual who's concerned about AI, please don't be. It's never going to replace you. It's a tool. It's a very good tool, and I've used it for programming. I've used it for image generation, but I would never use it in a way to say I created this. This is mine. I'm always very honest and open about something that I used AI for. My home screen or my starting student screen on Twitch uses AI. The entire scene itself doesn't use AI, but the advertisements use AI just because I did not have the time in the allotted time that I had given myself to generate new advertisements and actually build them and design them. And that's something I want to do going forward. But at the time, it was just simpler to do that. and kind of just deal with the consequences of it later. And the same thing with my starting screen. There's a couple little, and even at the end of my YouTube videos, there's a couple little AI concepts that are going to be eventually turned into real pieces. But I just want people to look at it as a tool. I don't want people to look at it as this is a replacement, because it's never going to be a replacement. AI can replace a lot of things. I don't think it can replace art. It can try all it wants to. And if you notice with AI, if you notice, like, if you're scrolling through like the the Midjourney website where they have their gallery, the stuff is cool, and it's been a minute. It's been a hot minute since I actually looked at it, so let's look at it real quick. The stuff is neat. So if you look at their showcase, and I'm not recording this obviously, but this is something you could do yourself. Some of it looks very good, but all of it has this like reoccurring feeling. It's very weird, right? AI has a very weird style to it. All of the images have some weird similarity to them, and I've never really I don't know. I don't know what it is that makes them so similar, but they all have this it's almost like a shininess. It's like a fakeness, which makes sense. It's AI. It's AI generated. It is fake inherently, but it doesn't necessarily look like art, and some of it does look like art. And so I could see where people would get discouraged. I get a little discouraged when I talk to people about the concept of generating an image in AI and then converting it into a 3D object and then printing it and then selling it. I think that is the biggest fucking cop-out ever. The concept that you would try to basically create something with a text prompt and then get all the way to selling it, I hate that. And I know if you pay for Midjourney's top tier, you can sell whatever you want to. But that crosses a very interesting line for me. And I didn't think it was something that would bother me until I watched somebody create this like skull squid thing, which is very cool. It's the AI that created it is honestly incredible, and I think that AI could be repurposed to use for like retopologizing objects or something like that. Is a task that sucks as a 3D animator, but instead it's being used to generate 3D models and then sell them. And I'm not okay with that. Maybe you're okay with that. I'm not okay with that. I don't think there's any passion behind that. I don't think there's any like realistic design behind that. I think it's just a cop-out. And so I think nowadays, getting on more to the side of the concept that AI is dying, it's not that AI is dying. I've said it earlier. AI isn't going to die. It's here to stay. It's probably not going to go anywhere. But I think the novelty of it is wearing off. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, that's cool. You can do that. It's fun. It's neat. It'll never be celebrated like real art. It will never be celebrated like a real film. And there's some interesting concepts on YouTube, AI films, AI film trailers, where they use like all AI to generate the music and the video and everything like that. They're laggy, they're gross, they're cool in theory, but there's no heart to them. There's no real like passion to them. They were just thrown together, and it was an experiment. It was an experiment that just ushers in this concept that, oh, we could just replace all these artists and do this, and I'm not for that. I don't like that. I think it's cool that you can animate an image. I think that's really important, because we used to do that with I think it was, I forget what Adobe tool he used, Adobe Flash, which I don't think even exists anymore. We used to use Flash to animate images and make 2D images animated. But now that you could tell a computer to do it, and it never looks right. It never looks perfect. It never looks solid. And that's just something that comes with the territory of AI, is like it doesn't have that human touch, and it never will. So for me, AI, the excitement of AI seems to be dead. There are only a few more like revolutions that they can have before it's just like, okay, you fixed your problems. That's it. But as an artist and seeing artists react to AI, I can promise you, like, it'll eventually just become a novelty thing. It'll be useful as a tool in some cases, but it'll be a novelty tool. It won't be important. It won't be changing to society. Not that a lot of art is. It's very rare that some art is actually like life-changing for society, but it's life-changing for some people sometimes. Just like, you watch a movie and it inspires you to become a director or something like that. Jurassic Park, very inspiring film for me. AI is never going to do that for anyone. I can promise you that. So I think that's really where my thoughts lie. I think that's kind of where I am. And I think this was a good way to kind of test the waters and open the podcast up to people and really just have a conversation about it. I don't want 3-hour-long podcasts. Really what I want to do is try to churn up some conversation and chat. Let me know your thoughts on AI. Let me know what you think, because I'm curious. Over time, I will kind of change up the format of this a little bit. Like right now, I'm just recording it on my camera. I'm not even sure it's in focus. It probably won't be, but that's okay because this is new and this is fresh. This is something different. So I want to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments. Is this something you enjoy? Is there conversations you want to have? Are there things you want to do? I want to have conversations with artists. I want to bring some artists on eventually and have one-on-one conversations with them and talk about concepts that they use and really talk about like their art forms. So, and with that, I want to like really grow this as like just a weekly conversation point, right? A weekly place to talk and vent and really discuss. So if that's what you're in for, if that's what you're down for, and you made it to the end of this episode, which is 22 minutes long, I appreciate you for being here for that long. Also, please don't forget, like and subscribe. Very important. It does help my channel a lot, and it helps grow this and the podcast future, basically. I will be trying to do these once weekly, I think. Alongside all of the new projects that are coming to this channel. And if you don't follow me, I'm live on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Sometimes a couple other days, but those are good places to follow me. And make sure you follow me on my social media because I will be posting updates there. I'm trying to get more into the concept of using Twitter, even though it is the bane of my existence. But I think that's all I have for today. Everybody, you have a wonderful week, and I will see you in the next podcast.